One hit. That's all we got. One goddamn hit.
You can't say goddamn on the air.
Don't worry, nobody's listening anyway.
Major League coming up next. What a fucking great movie. Welcome back to Nerd is the New Cool. I am Justin, and joined with me as always is my best friend, Mr. John Lambert.
How's it going, everybody?
Good to see you, man. So we are here, and we are here to talk about Major League because it is the 35th anniversary of this incredible sports classic. So as we start this episode, as we always do, I guess first question for you is, when did you first see it?
Well, I'm pretty sure it wasn't in the theater. Actually, very certain I did not see this in the theater because it was 1989 and we were eight,
Yeah, there's no way we saw this in the theater.
nine.
I don't even think I saw
No,
a version of this until I was probably in high school.
right. This is probably one of those like Saturday or Sunday movies with the commercials and edited, and oh, it was definitely edited because I watched the obviously we watched the unedited version now, and I can remember like the edits, the terrible edits for this movie.
I didn't even know that there was the cutout, of the owner
Right.
until again, middle school or high school,
Yeah.
because those are obviously not scenes that a child
Those,
can watch while it's
those,
on syndication on
yeah,
WGN.
right. On like you can't do that on Channel 5 on a Saturday.
It was 100% on TBS
Oh,
or
all the time.
TNT or WGN or all of the
All
above.
the time. All the time.
For those of you guys who are too young to know, those are network channels that used to be on cable.
TBS is still out there.
TBS is still out there. So, what makes this movie great? I've got a couple of reasons, but I want to hear what you think. Why is this such a memorable film?
This is, and I probably overuse this, but this is one of those movies where it's on, I'm watching it.
Yeah, I mean, if
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter where it is, but especially at the end. The ending of this movie is amazing.
you,
I can't say enough about how much I love the ending of this movie. And for my money, the reason why me personally it's memorable, I think it's the best baseball movie ever. It's better than all of them.
we litigated this a while back when we were talking about a different baseball movie. We were talking about,
I think years ago.
well, we were talking about The Sandlot too recently. But I think that what makes this movie great is that it is an underdog story because basically that's what it is. It's a team that's about to be sold and they're trying to go from the worst team in the league and somehow make the
Well,
playoffs.
yeah, a team that was created to lose.
Right. And so obviously as a viewer, we want them to win. They're like the laughable losers. They're funny. They are really bad. And every one of them has their own underdog story. They do a really good job of somehow like explaining backgrounds of these players within the first 15, 20 minutes of the film.
I mean, it's a professional version of Bad News Bears,
Oh, that's
basically.
yeah.
Basically,
I
I
think
mean,
that's
it's the same kind of storyline or the same general principle.
I think that's a great comparison. And I don't know if it's the best baseball movie for me. I have some other ones that I especially enjoy, but I would say as far as like the best overall film that is rewatchable, that's something you can keep coming back to because it is heartfelt, because it is funny, because it's silly, because it's serious, because the baseball is really done very well in the film, I think. It's like you said, there are every moment of the film, if you hop in, you're like, oh, that's about to happen. Oh, I got to stick around for this. And that's what makes a great
Yeah,
movie.
whether it's a funny moment in a game, like a funny moment in the dugout or in a restaurant or in a library or whatever. Like there's all those. There's just it does a really good job of keeping the viewer engaged, whether through multiple different channels, like you said, like whether it's like building on the backstory for a character or it's building up to a game or the actual gameplay itself.
Or and then you've also got like the Ricky Vaughn redemption story. You've got the love story of Jake and
We've
Lynn.
got the Jake Taylor redemption story. You've got Willie Mays Hayes turning into the ball player that he always thought he could be.
And it really, if you think about it, let's not leave out one of the biggest characters of the movie, which is Cleveland.
Hmm.
I think that I think that if you're a baseball fan, if you know about even like just a sports fan in general, even just the city of Cleveland itself, it is about the hardships of a working man's, blue collar town and trying to basically beat, somehow not get sold off and I mean, there's a reason why the Yankees are the opponent that they're trying to beat, right?
Because it's the Yankees.
Well, it's the Yankees, but it's also
It's
like
like,
big city, wealthy, alt powerhouse, and then they're like the working class, like never has beens.
right, exactly.
So one other thing I think that makes this movie is the music and the score itself. I think the score is incredible. You've got, I mean, if you could play 3 to 4 notes of this movie, like scene changes, and I would know immediately without actually seeing it that's fucking Major League.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
that, and then of course, the soundtrack we cannot go unmentioned. A couple major songs that I would imagine the reason why they topped the charts was because of this movie. We've got Wild Thing by X, which is the biggest song from this movie. You've got
Hmm.
a Lyle Lovett song in there called "Crying Shame." That's when Vaughn is getting picked up by Doran's wife. That's it, playing in the bar. Most of You is a song by Bill Medley. That's kind of like Jake and Lynn's love song. I think it actually plays during the credits. And then got to mention Randy Newman, right?
Randy Newman. Randy Newman.
Randy Newman, the opening credits. It's called Burn On, if you didn't know the
Love
name
it.
of the song. And
Love it.
it's telling the story of Cleveland, basically. That's in a bunch of images of people working construction and people walking through the city and shots of the skyline and things like that. I think it's
and
really great.
and going through the newspapers of like, oh, the Indians are first. Well, I guess their last championship, and then just the gradual just decline into the cellar.
You want to do a real quick history on the Cleveland? Now they're called the Guardians.
The used to be the formerly known as Cleveland Indians.
Yeah.
I
Let me go.
mean,
Let me rattle
I mean,
through
we
a
can.
few and see if you know any of this. You're not going to know this. First of all, the franchise originated in 1896. They were known as the Columbus. I want you to guess what you think the name of their mascot was.
Clippers.
Think about Columbus.
Oh,
What's a pretty big thing in in Columbus, Ohio?
oh, Buckeyes.
The Buckeyes. They were known as the Buckeyes. Yes.
That is terrible.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. But they eventually were renamed the Columbus Senators, and then they
Okay.
relocated to Grand Rapids, Michigan, for some reason. And they became the Grand Rapids Furniture Makers. Can't make this stuff up. Then they relocated back to, or not back to Ohio, but to Cleveland this time in 1900, and they were called the Cleveland Lake Shores.
Okay.
Super
That's a
interesting.
little better.
Yeah, the American League declared itself a major league in 1901, and Cleveland was actually one of the 8 charter franchises. And they then
Hmm.
were renamed the Cleveland Bluebirds or Blues, and
Okay.
they're unofficially called the Cleveland Broncos in 1902. There's a lot. There's a lot. They got a lot of name changes in like a
They
handful.
changed they changed a lot of names in just two
Yeah.
years.
So then they were renamed in 1903 the Cleveland Napoleons or Naps because the team captain's name was Nap Lahoe. Apologies for screwing that name up.
That guy's a Hall of Famer.
And when Captain Knapp, when he left, the club owner Charles Summers decided to change the name. They actually had the baseball writers go through this and pick the name, and that's when they came up with the Cleveland Indians, and it stuck with them for pretty much a century for the most part. Of course, there's been a lot of Native American like mascot controversy over the last handful of years, and so the team adopted the Guardians following the 2021 season. So when is the last time they won the World Series? Do you remember?
Was it 55?
The team's World Series
Fif-
championship has been since 1948.
48.
It is the longest among all major league teams.
Oh, and Knapp, who you referenced, his lifetime batting average was 338,
He's pretty good. I get why they named the team off after him, I guess.
and his career high, he hit 426 in 1901.
Ooh, God, that's
But
crazy.
that was for Philadelphia. That was before he joined Cleveland. His highest for Cleveland was 383. Shucks,
Sorry, just at four out of every or two out of every five at bats get hit. That's pretty
that guy's
crazy.
a ball player. Anyways,
Good news for the Guardians, though. They have been good the last couple years, and they currently lead the AL Central. And I'm always rooting for them.
well, and I was listening to it's either listening or watching something, and this is only the fifth time in team history that they have won 40 out of their first 60 games because they're 40 and 20, or they were 40 and 20 at that time. That was earlier in the week, but and I remembered that we were recording this episode, so I tucked that little nugget away. So they are pretty good this year.
Yeah, and like, listen, the only team that I don't want them to beat are the Cardinals, and I don't think we have to worry about that in the World Series. So,
No,
Go Guardians, go Guardians. Before we move on and we get into the categories, let's do a real quick Charlie Sheen check-in. He is obviously the star of the film. Even though Corbin Bernsen is like he's like or not Corbin Bernsen, I'm sorry, Tom
Tom
Berenger.
Berenger.
And Corbin
Yeah,
Bernsen's
Tom Berenger.
obviously he's the fun comedic relief, and Wesley Snipes is we'll talk about him later on, but
Well,
even
because I
Tom
mean,
Berenger,
Charlie Sheen was 24 when this came out.
yeah, and he becomes like the breakout star of I
Mm-hmm.
hate to say breakout star, but like he is on a crazy, crazy run in 1989. I don't want
I
to
mean, we'll get to that in a second. We'll get to that later. We
well, I
don't
don't
need to
want to
get to it
okay,
now.
I don't want to step on like Peak of the Mountain, but I
That's
do
what I'm saying.
or Dante's Peak, but I do want to just name that I listed 10 movies from 1986 to 1991, and I couldn't pick out my favorite of those 10 movies. Or I'm sorry, those 11 movies. Those 11 movies.
You want me to do it?
You want to name a couple that are on this list?
No, no, no. Name them and I'll pick out my favorite.
Okay, all right. I'll rattle them off real quick and just make note. Now, there's a couple that are not my favorite, but when I hear the name, I'm like, oh, I do fucking love that movie. So we got Lucas, Ferris Bueller, Platoon, Wall Street, Young Guns, Eight Men Out. This movie, Navy SEALs, Men at Work, Cadence, and then Hot Shots. That's in 6 fucking years. That's in 6 years. That's
I
crazy.
will tell you one thing. Men at Work is if you have not seen Men at Work, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the listeners. You need to see Men at Work. That movie is. I love that movie so much.
Highly
It's so
underrated.
underappreciated, underrated, so good.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that movie so
Listen, don't
much.
get me wrong. I do love him and Emilio Estevez in Young Guns, but those two in
Love
that
me some Young Guns.
so much better.
They're so much better because, well, like he's in the whole movie.
Yes,
He doesn't die.
that's true.
He
Oh,
doesn't
so
die. So
spoiler
of
for Young
those, what my favorite, honestly, I would say my favorite is Hot Shots.
Guns. That's yeah. That was it was tough for me to decide, but I think when I also came down to it, that's definitely top three.
It was probably between this, like Major League is definitely in the top three. Hot Shots is number one, only because like he's the focal point in Hot Shots. Like this is more of an ensemble cast, and Hot Shots he's kind of like the man in that one. So that's why I lean towards that one.
Yeah, and I guess a lot of these other movies. I mean, Navy SEALs. He's one of the major guys, but we don't talk about Navy SEALs.
Like Platoon, it's an ensemble. Men
Yeah,
at Work, it's him and his brother.
I do love his appearance in Ferris Bueller's Day Off, though.
I mean, again, like I love that movie, but like he's only in it for a minute, but he's great.
He's so good playing the burnout junkie, which is kind of ironic. Let's get into the categories. So, the summary, according to IMDb, the new owner of the Cleveland Indians puts together a purposefully horrible team so they'll lose and she can move the team. But when the plot is uncovered, they start winning just to spite her. Good synopsis.
Very accurate.
This came out April 7th, 1989 in the US. It has a runtime of an hour and 47 minutes. Blistering speed. Like
It's
paused.
so it's yeah
I paused it after a couple big scenes just to like use the restroom, and I was like, oh, "Fuck, it's already halfway over. That's nuts."
yeah it goes pretty fast.
Had a budget of 11 million estimated and had a gross worldwide of almost $50 million, which 50 million may not sound like anything, but basically quintupled its budget, which is pretty good.
Right.
BS rankings, these numbers shouldn't surprise anybody. Rotten Tomatoes gives it an 83% with an audience score of 84%. Like that's, I think, a pretty good breakdown there.
I agree.
IMDb 7.2. IMDb, they're a bunch of fucking
Led me. IMDb's let me down.
bunch of curmudgeon babies. All right. The Spielberg Award for directing, directed by Davis S. Ward. He's got a couple weird movies he directed, and it's got a
Oh,
very.
these are what are you talking about? These are all solid.
I don't mean. I'm not saying I don't like these movies.
I like all of these movies,
I'll just say them. He does Ralph first, then he does The Program, which is fucking awesome.
which we've talked about before.
This movie, Major League Two, well, and then Down Periscope, which is
Another highly
talking about.
underrated, underappreciated Kelsey Grammer at his finest.
He is great. I think this might be the only
He's
movie he's been in besides the X-Men movies, but Davis S. Ward has done nothing since 1996. That's a long time to have not done anything. I guess he's pretty much out of the game.
hey, he made some classics and then he hung them up.
Yeah. He Now let's talk about the Tarantino Award for writing, which is also David S. Ward. He's got a couple other big time writing credits, and he wrote The Sting. He also wrote King Ralph. He apparently did not write this movie, but he did write Sleepless in Seattle. He wrote The Program. He wrote Major League Two, but he hasn't written anything since 2019, which isn't really that's not that long of a time. Basically, right before COVID hit, he stopped
But
doing it.
again, like he wrote Sleepless in Seattle. It's like arguably the best rom com ever. I
Yeah,
mean, arguably.
I would say, yeah, it's definitely top. I would say most people would say top
It,
five.
it's it's up there. Yeah.
He probably doesn't have to do a lot. Did a lot of things in the 80s and 90s, and now he's just kicking back and
He's got some residuals coming in.
cashing those checks, right? All right, the Tom Hanks Best Leading Role Award. I've got three nominees. You'll probably agree with me. These are the three. Tom Berenger plays Jake Taylor, Charlie Sheen plays Ricky Vaughn, and Wesley Snipes plays William Mays Hayes.
Amazing.
Who's your favorite?
I mean, I like all of these guys, but if we're talking about like the leading man and the leading role, I got to go Tom Berenger
I'm surprised you said that. I actually was gonna say the
because
same thing, and
because
but I
he's kind of the center, he's kind of the focal point because he's holding everything together.
yeah, he's the wily veteran. These rookies are like looking up to him. He's like the sage, sort of. He's
I
also
mean,
like the
he's keeping the veterans at bay, and he's trying to bring the rookies along, and like he's the guy who can have the tough talk with Dorn, and then also try to mentor Vaughn and Hayes and all that. So yeah,
yeah, but he's still like the washout. So he's still got some scars and some obviously character flaws.
yep.
But let's also not forget. I think Wesley Snipes has the best moments in the movie that are. He's got comedy timing. It's just incredible.
Oh, it's fantastic, and he's so small. He's not the Wesley Snipes that I'm used to. I'm used to like Blade Wesley Snipes.
Yeah. It's believable that he runs like Maze
Hmm.
and then he hits like shit.
And he hits like shit.
The other four Jacksons, so what are some secondary characters we have? We have Corbin Burnson, who plays Dorn or Roger Dorn. Margaret Whitten plays Rachel Phelps, the owner. A couple things that she's in. Well, first of all, she passed away, RIP, in 2016. But she was in The Secret of My Success, which I don't know if you like that movie or not, but I'm a fan. It was a movie I watched a lot growing up. And he was also in The Man Without a Face, a movie with Mel Gibson back in the day.
I've heard of that one. Yep.
Other person who unfortunately has passed away in 2010, we got James Gammon, who plays Lou Brown. He was in quite a few things, 146 credits total. That's a lot.
Saw
Couple,
that. Yeah, he was in a ton of stuff.
Couple items to note: Cold Mountain, Silver Bullet, and the Iron Giant. Renee Russo plays Lynn Wells. She's been in a shit ton of things, but some of the big ones for me are Ransom, Thomas Crown Affair, Lethal Weapons 3 and 4. But she hasn't been anything since 2019. I guess she's
She was in Get Shorty.
oh yeah, of course, Get Shorty.
I love Get Shorty. It's great. She's good in that too.
She is so good in that movie. We got Charles Cyphers, who plays Charlie Donovan. He was in Halloween. Hasn't been anything since 2021, but he is 85 years old, so we can forgive him of that. Kelsey Ross plays Eddie. Um, Eddie Harrison, right? You might know him from Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. He's in Hoosiers. He's in Basic Instinct. He's been in 94 things. And then lastly, we have um, Dennis
Dennis
Haysbert, who plays
Dennis
Pedro
Haysbert.
Colorado. If you watch TV or movies, you'll know him from 24. He's in Heat, but he's also the Allstate guy, and he wants to know, are you in good hands? All
Yes,
right.
he does.
This is a tough list, man. I generally I have an idea of who I'm going to pick, but I am a little bit torn here. I'll go first. I think that Dennis Haysbert brings another dimension to a kind of a character that could maybe be played not great, or could come off not great.
Or almost like played without words. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that could totally be a character that does not speak, and it's totally fine.
hmm Yeah, you're right. He could be totally mute or like doesn't speak the
Right.
language.
Or just doesn't speak because fuck you.
Fuck you, Kobu. I do it myself. Obviously, Renee Russo is a good-looking person, and she plays. I think the problem with her is that there's even though like they try and build layers into her about like her being an Olympic swimmer and everything like that. I'm not sure it lands that well, and I'm not sure she has a lot of I don't know what's the right phrase. Uh,
Depth.
yeah, I mean depth or I don't know. She's just kind of like the girl to be won, and I think that
Hmm.
she's a librarian and an athlete. And she's got a
You're
lot,
one dimensional.
yeah, a little bit.
Is that what you're saying? Just like I mean,
I
they
don't think
tried.
I don't
Well, they
think that she,
tried to not do. They
I was
tried to
gonna say
not do that.
I
Of
don't.
like saying that she's a librarian and she's a former athlete, and obviously they have some history, and now she's moving on and marrying this rich guy or whatever. But you're saying that like all of those layers were just kind of like you didn't really see them, and they all just kind of melded into one layer.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's right. I think that they say all these things about her, but they don't really give her a chance to have her own. I don't know. They just
She
didn't.
didn't.
It's not a
She
romantic
didn't get a
comedy.
right, and I mean again, that's not the purpose of the movie, so that's okay. But like, she didn't get a lot of like the background that like again, like what you were talking about with Charlie Sheen's character or with the Wesley Snipes character or even Jake's character. Like you see a lot of the background, whereas with her, it's just kind of like, and here she is. Oh, by the way, she's an athlete too.
Well, and maybe it's the mentality of the current times, but for me, it seems like everyone else has this really great character arc, and
Yes,
she all of a sudden just decides, I'm gonna be with Jake Taylor, and I don't know that Jake did anything to like really make that a real thing that she should have
he
done.
you know he read Moby Dick, dude. Come on,
Okay, well, you're right. My bad. I've recused
that's
the previous statement.
because that's all it takes to win a woman's heart. Just read a book.
Maybe that's what it was. Maybe it's just like I'm like, she probably should have told Jake to get fucked.
Right.
But
Like you
she
fucked
does a
off and
good
you were in Mexico for how long? You just expect me to you come back and you expect me to drop everything and just go with you, which basically she said.
right.
She more or less said that. And then she did drop everything and just go with him.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I
Well,
think if
anyways.
I don't mean this to be shitting on Renee Russo because she's awesome in the movie and I think she does a
No,
great job.
she's great. And she's great in everything that she does.
Corbin Burnson is hilarious in this movie and some of his interactions, especially with the manager, shut up door and those kind of things, it's so memorable because he's just such a great whiny little fucking weasel.
Yep.
And he gets his comeuppance and he also learns from it, and he gets a little bit of like he gets the revenge back on Vaughn sort of, and like that's I think that again all the characters have like really good like arcs for the most part. So after all that talk, I am gonna pick. I gotta pick Serrano. Pedro, who are you picking?
Lou Brown.
Oh, that's good. Well, I'm glad you picked someone else. Tell us why.
I love I love Lou just because I mean for a lot of the stuff like he's got a lot of the good one-liners
Mm,
and and again like I mean because of his role like he's the manager so he's making a lot of the decisions but like so but he gets to interact with everybody like he has one-on-ones with Hayes and one-on-ones with Dorn and Harris and Jake and like everybody
yeah.
um and yeah I just think he's funny. He's that super fucking I don't give a shit dry humor.
Mhm.
Like just shut up, Dorn.
What a brilliant way to introduce him to call on him being offered the job.
Tire world.
And he's like,
I don't know. I gotta think about it.
I got a guy on the other line about some white walls. Like
I'll
it
talk
just
to you later.
I'll talk to you later. It's such a great introduction of that character. And then yeah, he just doesn't disappoint from there on out. So I think
No,
I
he
think
does
that's
not.
that's a good choice. Next category, backup singers. So a couple deep cut characters. First of all, we got Bob Uecker, who plays Harry Doyle. A little bit about this guy. First of all, he was born in 1934, believe it or not. He's a retired American professional baseball catcher, and he's the primary broadcaster, or was, for the Milwaukee Brewers for a very, very long time. So he's doing this, but that's also what he did for a living for a long time as well.
It's amazing.
But yeah, finally, we've got Neil Flynn as
Yep.
he plays Longshoresman. And if you know Neil Flynn, you know him as the janitor from
The
Scrubs.
janitor from Scrubs. Yep.
He's in a lot of other things. He is like a super deep cut because he only says like one thing.
But you see, like, who are these fucking guys? Yeah.
I was like, oh,
These guys aren't so fucking bad. Those were his lines.
and
And
that and
then you
what's
see him at the very, very end when he's hugging people in the bar. He's
yeah, and
there.
what's
He's at the
funny
bar.
is that yeah, he's hugging like the rocker, like
Right, right, right. Yeah.
Having said that, I only, of course, nostalgia with Scrubs and other things I know him from. I mean, this award has to go to Bob Uecker, right?
Of course it does. It's definitely it's the Yucca.
He's got a lot of quotes, which I'm sure we'll be saying here in a little bit. We already kind of mentioned the music a little bit, but again, just real quick, just to recap, James Newton Howard, he he pretty much was in charge of the score. He has 126 credits. Here's some things, or he's done 126 things basically. He was the orchestrator, musician, composer, music producer, score producer, conductor, and music supervisor. He's done a ton of shit. Some of the things you might recognize: Fantastic Beach or Beasts, The Hunger Games, Snow White and the Huntsman, all those things, all the Bourne stuff, Dark Knight, even Space Jam. So he's been around doing this for a very long time. I know we already touched on this, but I am curious. Like, if you had to pick a song, though, what song do you associate most with this movie? And I pretty much you get two options. You got Wild Thing and the Randy Newman Burn On song.
It's burn on.
Interesting. I think I would
It's
say
burn
Wild.
on.
I think I would
It's
say
burn
Wild.
on.
Okay. All right. All right. Next category. Now we're going to get into the fun stuff. Scenes to nerd out on. I am going to rattle through a couple, and then I'm really curious what you pick because I think
So,
I have a winner for me. Upon the one gazillion three watch last night, one stood out for me for sure. But I don't think anyone's going to be wrong.
there are so many good ones. Can
All
you
right,
just say the whole movie?
the movie, all 147 minutes of it, or whatever it is. All right, so the first kind of scene, these are kind of groups of scenes. There are a lot of montages going on in this movie for sure.
Especially at the very beginning. There's like
Right.
that's the whole the opening montage or whatever.
So I just did like the whole like not I mean not like the comment or the newspaper stuff, but like intro to the new regime, right? So you've got basically like we want our team to fail. You know, this guy's dead. take him off the list.
Cross him
Cross,
off then.
cross him off then, right?
Love it.
So, like, it sets the stage about like basically what these new people are going to be dealing with.
This is what I expect of this team. I want them to lose.
Yeah. So that's kind of a part. The next part is all the players arriving to training camp in their different ways.
Hmm.
Then I've got just training camp and then locker room, like the whole, and that is definitely like a montage. You've got like Ricky, like they're like try and throw it between the two coaches, and he fucking takes the fucking head off the dummy or whatever.
Right. Right.
You've got Willie Mays Hayes showing up and like doing the race thing and get that man a uniform, a whole bunch of other things like that. Obviously Jake Taylor's just fucking butchering it. He's like, go to two, and he fucking four hops it.
Nice. Nice throw, dickhead.
It's the Then it leads us into the preseason, which is more mishaps and more struggles and uh the skying it and doing push-ups by Willie Mays Hayes and
Hmm.
I don't know, just everyone just looks like shit. And that kind of leads into the cut scene, right? A little bit like people are getting cut.
They're getting red tagged. Yeah.
Yeah. That'll make it real clear to this rookie fuckwad. I'm not going to take any of his shit.
Shut up, Dorn.
There we go. Thank you.
Save that energy for the field.
The next scene I have is this. It's just the first game, the entire first game. You've got the prayer by Harris. You've got the bunt that he goes, oops, the bunt that turns into a hit.
Hey,
Then he gets picked off,
he gets yeah. It'd be hard to steal second with your shoe untied.
and just a bunch of like errors and bad plays. Then the just a bit outside that turns into a home run that turns into him
Ball
hitting it.
4, ball 8, ball 12.
But then he gives up a home run. He's like, let's see what he does, and he hits a batter. That was
I
interesting.
think
Then he gets
I think
thrown
you can
out.
go get him now.
So that's the first game, just to be clear.
Yeah.
The next scene I have is Jake shows up up to the dinner party with Lynn and fiance.
Hmm.
Then they find out like the master plan, and that's the we peel a section, like speech basically.
Right.
We only have one option is to win the whole fucking thing. Then there's a really great I just put starting to win montage, and they're putting it together. Willie Mays is nailing his gloves on the wall, and they're putting together wins and.
Yeah, Dorn is taking infield practice and getting all bruised up and shit.
Mhm.
Yep.
Speaking of Dorn, the next scene I have is Vaughn and Dorn's wife.
Dorn's wife.
The
Suzanne.
I put rendezvous.
Suzanne Dorn.
Hmm. Then I have the final game, which I mean I know there could be different parts of the game, but the final game is Pedro's home run, Vaughn's strikeout, Dorn punches Vaughn, Taylor calling his shot, which turns into a bunt, and I guess the game ends. Maybe the game ends is a different part where they're all celebrating, and that's when Vaughn gets punched and
That's
fans.
when Vaughn gets punched and Renee Russo reveals that she does not have an
No
engagement ring on anymore. Yeah, no ring.
ring.
No ring.
Okay. Do you want me to go first on this one?
Go ahead.
It's for me, it's the first game. I don't know if you could tell when I was talking about it. I think the first game is. I just forget how fucking funny that is. I was dying with the prayer. I was like giggling with the prayer, and then the water comes or the sprinklers come on, and then just oops. I love the oops part, and he hustles out the hit, and then just the whole Vaughn thing, like he just cannot find ball. These guys just I don't know how they're laying off things so close. And then he hits the guy. And he's like, "Oh fuck you!" I don't know. I think that's
All right. Why did you blow me?
Charlie Sheen in that move in that part is just fucking.
Get out of here, rookie.
He's brilliant. All right. So what's yours?
It's the end. It's the end. I mean, there are so many little scenes in this movie that I love, but like overall, it's the end. It's the ending. And
Yeah.
it's not like the home run. It's the Jake Taylor calling a shot, bunt, Willie scoring from second, like that piece, just that piece.
Yeah. That's,
Yep.
man, Rick, and you got Ricky like cheering him on in the dugout. All the players are involved in some
Right.
capacity. Dorn has to get hit to get on base.
No, that was Major League too.
Oh, that's right. You're right. I'm sorry. I totally screwed that up. But man, that is a good scene from Major
Didn't
League.
this guy didn't this guy used to pitch you inside? Yeah. Well, grab a bat and step into one.
I forgot. My bad.
This isn't my bat. Get out there.
Oh man, Major League Two is pretty good though. Anyway,
Yeah, it is. It is. It is. It's
um,
pretty good.
but yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I think that they're great for different reasons, right? So you're going with like the real like heartstrings, and I'm going for the like the silly slapstick comedy,
Right. Right.
which is funny because that really like explains this movie. It really is a tale of two sides of a coin, right? You've got like the really dramatic moments, and it is very like emotional, but then it is super silly, and it's still a baseball movie, and they're fucking idiots.
Well, yeah, and like I was just thinking of another scene that kind of illustrates that silliness of when they get to Cleveland and Taylor goes out there and like hits his imaginary home run and he trots around the bases. He gives them a high five, and then there they are, the two rookies just, oh, that one was out of, what was that, a slider?
It
Oh, it
was
was out of here.
it was out of here. Yeah.
And then no, we'll probably get to that one when we talk about quotes. But there's lots of quotes that kind of illustrate the scenes that I like that we'll get to later.
Yeah. We've already said half the quotes, but we'll say them again.
I mean,
The
we haven't said nearly half the quotes.
All right, the Heath Ledger Award for scene stealing. I have two nominees. It's it's Vaughn and Willie Mays Hayes. Those are my two.
So I had Lou Brown as another nominee.
Really?
I think so.
Hmm. Okay.
But I did have Charlie Sheen as well.
Yeah, I
Just
kind of
because
think of like when they're on screen together, who am I most paying attention to? And I think it's interesting because I think that when you've got Vaughn on screen with what's his name, the coach. I totally blanked on his name for a second there.
Lou, I
Yeah,
think you wanted.
so when you've got Vaughn on screen with Lou, I think Lou steals the scene. But I think when
Yes,
Vaughn's on screen with anyone else, he steals the scene. I don't know. It's a weird like, and I think Willie Mays Hayes when he's with Lou, I think he steals the scene. So it's almost like they kind of work really well off of each other.
right.
So I don't know.
It's it.
I'm just gonna say Willie Mays Hayes. That's my vote.
I will say Charlie Sheen.
Okay, so Ricky Vaughn. All right, Dante's Peak. So let's go through some actors first, then we can talk about just overall. We can relitigate the baseball movies conversation if we want. Tom Berenger, he's been in 113 things, which is a lot.
Yeah.
He, all right, Big Chill is an 83, which I love the Big Chill. I'm not sure if you're a big fan or not. Platoon in 86, Shoot to
Mm-hmm.
Kill in 88, which is also another very underrated movie, I think. That's it's a real cat and mouse chase movie. This is in 89, Snipers in 93, Slivers in 93, Major League 2 is in 94, and I had to put the substitute on there because it's
You got
so many
you got to
memes
put the
about yeah.
you have to put the substitute on there. That's got to be on that list.
So that's in 96. So of all these, what do you think is his or is it something else?
I mean, it might be Platoon.
I wonder if you were to ask people, I mean, that's essentially what we're trying to like debate here is what do you know Tom Berenger from? And I think they're gonna say Major League.
I think so too.
Yeah. I
But
think
like
I think it is.
from an acting perspective, I think it's probably Platoon.
Oh, yeah. Okay. If we're talking like talent, like showing off how good he is, I think you're right. It's probably the Big Chill, or it might even be the Big Chill or Platoon. But
Yeah,
if
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
it's what do you
But
know him best from,
it's
it's
this.
this for
It's
sure.
this. It's this and two. It's Major League. It's like the Major League series.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. This is gonna be harder. Charlie Sheen. So I already mentioned some of his things, but let me add a few more that kind of like the gaps of like before and after what I mentioned. Kind of starts off in a movie called Red Dawn. Ever heard of it? In
Yeah,
in
nobody's
80,
ever heard of that one.
1984. Again, Lucas is in 86. Ferris Bueller is in 86. Platoon is in 86. I'm naming the years just so you know how many things were in each year. Or Wall Street's in 87.
Hmm.
Young Guns is in 88. Eight Men Out is in 88. This is in 89. Navy SEALs is in 90.
Navy SEALs.
So is Men at Work is also in 90. So is Cadence. That's in 90. Jana loves Cadence, by the way.
I love Cadence.
I do like it. I won't
Mm,
sing the Cadence, but
no,
I,
we won't do that.
I
But
know it.
yeah,
Hot
I love
Shots
some
is in
Cadence.
91, which is amazing. He does
Love
Three
it.
Musketeers. Let's not forget Three Musketeers is in 93, which that's the one with Chris O'Donnell.
Chris O'Donnell. Yep.
He's in Spin City from 2000, 2002. And then he's in Two and a Half Men from 2003 to
I was
2000.
gonna say that's got to be on there. Yeah,
So to make it okay, let's do this in two different ways. I think if you say we can do just movies and then overall, because if it's overall, the answer is Two and a Half Men.
absolutely,
That's
100%.
everyone knows him from Two and a Half Men.
If you didn't know who he was, you do now,
Yeah.
kind of thing. Yep.
Now let's try and do movies though, because he was a movie star before he was a TV star.
He was absolutely a movie
Pretty
star.
big fucking movie star. And I think I have the answer, but I want you to go first on this one.
I still think it's Hot Shots.
Yeah. uh what's the other one that he makes a small cameo in, the one with Emilio Estevez takes over, or Loaded Weapon 1?
Loaded Weapon with Samuel Jackson.
You got anything smaller? No. You got anything bigger? Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, I mean, I think that like that actually I would say that he comes off of all of this litany of movies and then he hits 91 and it's like I'm gonna do the most silly fucking movie of all time, Farrelly Brothers movie, and it's just gonna be, who cares? Like it's gonna be hilarious. I can do
And
no
it
wrong.
was amazing.
Ironically, that's when he stopped being in movies and he switched to TV. I actually think though, as far as like his best movie, his best performance though, I think it's got to be Wall Street, right? I
I
mean,
was just gonna say that. Yeah, it's probably Wall Street. Like from an acting perspective, it's that.
or Men at Work. He's good. Men at Work.
Or Men at Work.
Okay. Wesley Snipes. Now we're gonna say it's not this because this is one of his first things, and this is an
It's
'89.
definitely not this one. It is not
Yeah,
this. I'll tell you that much right now.
he's in New Jack City in '91.
God, that's so good.
White Men Can't Jump in '92. Also in '92, Passenger 57. Rising Sun and Demolition Man both in '93. Tu
Jesus.
Wong Fu and Money Train both in '94.
Money Train was just on TV. I saw that on HBO and I'm like, holy shit, I haven't thought about that movie in decades.
Yeah. Well, there's no reason to. The fan, the fan is in '96. Murder at 1600 is in '97. U.S. Marshals in '98, and then Blade in '98. I'll go first. The answer is Blade.
The answer is Blade. Blade is such a good fucking movie.
Now, for me, I would say Demolition Man,
I mean, I
but
love that movie too
but
because Simon
I
Phoenix is twisted.
but I'm not naive enough to think that like that's what people know him from. People know him from, and Passenger 57. I mean, he goes on this run from '92 to '93. White Man Can't Jump, Passenger 57, Rising Sun, which is also a good movie, and then Demolition Man. That's four
Well, I mean,
movies.
because you think about the people that he's co-starring, like White Man Can't Jump is with Woody Harrelson. Rising Sun is with fucking Sean Connery.
Yeah,
Demolition
Demolition
Man
Man.
is with Sly.
Yeah,
Like he's he's getting paired with some, like, I mean, not to say that he's not a megastar, but he's getting paired with megastars. You've got
yeah.
like you're
One,
competing
and
for top billing with those two guys. With
one
each of the,
that,
like, I mean, Sean Connery, but like, give me a break.
and I think the New Jack City is where he legitimized himself as being a fucking badass. Like,
Absolutely.
so that's a good, amazing three to run. But again, the answer is
It's
Blade.
it's Blade because Blade is amazing.
So I think when we did baseball movies, I think I'm remembering what we actually came up with, but I want to know if we somehow flip this around. So Bad News Bears in 76, The Naturals in 84, Bull Durham is in 88, Field of Dreams is 89. This is in 89.
89.
League of Their Own is 92. Major League 2 is in 93. For Love of the Game, 99, and then 61 was in 2011. Um, I
Wait,
think,
I know the answer to this question.
what is it?
It's 1989.
The answer is 1989. And with Field
It's
of Dreams,
Field of Dreams in Major League.
yeah.
I rest my case.
But if you got, I mean, I do think a League of Their Own, though, in 92
A
needs to
League
be.
of Their Own is fantastic. I'm not saying anything against that, but
No, 89 is definitely the peak, but I wonder, though, if you ask us this, that's going to be our answer. But I wonder if you were to ask a younger person or even like a woman, I think they might say League of Their Own. And that's okay. I wouldn't say they're wrong about that.
yeah, or like, yeah, trying to think of more contemporary baseball movies and then just,
I mean, besides 61 and like um I mean, is there one? That's it, really, right? I mean,
well, I mean, they had one,
Hardball,
Moneyball.
Moneyball. Okay.
Um,
Well,
Moneyball was
Moneyball was
one.
nominated for a bunch of Academy
Yeah,
Awards.
and then there was, I can't remember what the name of it was, but it was 42, I think, with Chadwick Boseman playing Jackie Robinson and
Oh, yeah. That movie, amazing.
Harrison Ford playing Branch Rickey. Like that was a good one.
That's really good. Yeah.
Um, and there's been a couple Jackie Robinson movies. Because Blair Underwood played him at one point in time. I think I can't remember the name of the movie, but I'm pretty sure he played him as well. Um, but yeah, because there was one where I can't remember the guy's name. The same guy who played the bad guy in Get Shorty played Satchel Paige in that movie, in like one of the baseball movies. I can't remember because it was more about like it was about like Satchel Paige and Jackie Robinson and Josh Gibson, which it's kind of interesting that we're talking about them because the Major League Baseball just updated all of their record keepings to include Negro League stats. So now Josh Gibson is the Major League leader for batting average
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's
in
pretty awesome.
history.
It's
Yeah,
pretty cool.
because they legitimate like because they included all the Negro League stats and at least of the stats of what they could like kind of verify, so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, it's pretty cool. But
Well, all right.
I still think it's 1989.
I agree. We'll settle on that 89. Okay. Next time we have another baseball movie to talk about, we will probably forget and we'll just do this again.
We'll do it again. It's all right.
The Quoth the Raven Award for favorite quotes. Let's just take turns like we always do, and then we'll pick our favorite. I don't care if we've repeated these already. We're going to say them again.
Go.
Just bit outside.
Tried the corner and missed.
Go ahead.
Like, and some of these are like total, but like too high. It was too high. It was too high. What,
I
too
have.
high?
What the hell does it matter? It's
well,
gone.
at first, the trajectory of the ball was too. Who gives a shit? It's gone.
It's gone. Just a reminder, fans, coming up is our Die Hard night here at the stadium. Free admission to anyone who was actually alive the last time the Indians won a pennant.
This guy threw his own kid at a father-son game. This guy's a convicted felon, isn't he, Money? Doesn't say that here. Well, he should be.
It should be. Let's do all Harry Doyle quotes.
We probably could.
Jesus, I like him very much, but he no help with curveball.
You say Jesus Christ can't hit a curveball?
Thank you. We got to have back and forth with this one for sure. All right. Good.
Oh, Rexy, you don't think this one's got the distance? I mean, and you could do the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Saw your wife at the Capri Lounge last night. Hell of a dancer. You must be very proud. Like, guys, I'm sure he was a close personal friend and all, but tell me, what was he doing with her panties on his head? Love it.
That's pretty
Love
great.
it.
So Willie Mays Hayes makes that basket catch, right? Very happy. And then he comes in and Lou says, "Nice catch, Hayes. Don't ever fucking do it again."
Fucking do it again. Vaughn at the restaurant. I look like a banker in this.
You may run like Hayes, but you hit like shit.
We said this one earlier, but it was this guy here is dead. Cross him off
Cross
then.
it, cross him off then. Well, there's an earlier quote though from the board member and then Charlie, and the board member says, "I've never heard of half these guys, and the ones I do know are way past their prime." And then Charlie says,
Or
"Most of these
never had
guys
one.
never had a prime."
Or had a prime.
How about the Willie Mays Ricky Vaughn one with the prison? What the hell league you been playing in?
California penal.
Never heard of it. How'd you get a how'd you end up playing there?
Stole a car.
Yeah, yeah, there you
Oh my goodness. Um, Yo, bartender, Joe Boo needs a refill.
go. Oh yeah. And then he gets fucking demolished with the
Then he gets
ball. That's
yeah, then he gets nailed with a baseball bat.
going somewhere, meet.
Yeah, about 90 feet.
That's awesome.
Oh, building on the whole like Ricky Vaughn tie. It's my wife. Does she know that? Who's that guy she's with? I don't know. He's not wearing a name tag. Want me to drag him out of here? Kick the shit out of him?
Kick the shit out of him, yeah. All right. Harry and Coleman. So you say the Coleman part. Monty, anything to add?
Not really.
He's not the best color man in the league for nothing, folks. I say that to people like if we're on the golf course or whatever, and I'll be like, "What do you think?" Oh, nothing. Not the best color man in the league for nothing.
Not the best color man in the league. Well, we said the fuck you Joe Boo one. We said
I
I
got
don't
one
know.
more.
There's
I got one more.
there's
I got one more from Roger Dorn, and then I'm done. But
go
I
ahead.
want it to be the last quote.
A little roll fuckwat. Ricky fuckwat can't take a joke.
Gonna make it real clear to this fucking. Oh, we already said that one. Um, let's do the crap. Let's cut through the crap, Vaughn. I only got one thing to say to you. Strike this motherfucker out.
So that is one of the terrible edits that I remember because
Yeah,
if you it was strike this guy.
mother loader.
No, I heard no. For me, it was because I mean it's exactly what you said, but it's strike this guy out. Like
I
that
remember.
was the edit that I
Really?
heard.
That
Oh, it
is
was
terrible.
terrible.
I remember
It's terrible.
I remember Mother Trucker.
Nope, not mother trucker, just guy.
Okay. Oh, that's terrible.
And we can end on that. Perfect.
Good way to know. Okay. Next category, you're canceled. So is there anything we need to get rid of? I mean, the only thing that really is that they got rid of the name of the team. So
Right.
other
Like
than that,
so, and I mean, and a lot of like a lot. I mean, especially like it would affect Harry Doyle's dialogue a lot because he's like home run. It's off the reservation. He
yeah.
doesn't
Yeah,
mean anything anymore.
yeah.
You know, the Cuyahoga Warriors and like all this, like, so that he does a lot of like Indian references because it's the Indian. So like it would change a lot of his dialogue significantly. But um, other than that, like, yeah,
Yeah. I think
uniforms.
he'd still make do. He'd be all right.
Yeah.
So the next category, another Spider-Man. Again. Who we remaking? So I got some. So I always do the ages, I'm really
Oh,
excited.
I wrote all the ages down,
The
so I
ages
knew how.
were some of them were surprising. So
Right.
let's start with Lou Brown because Lou Brown, the actor, was only 49 when this movie came out.
He looked, and I had to. I checked that twice. I
Yeah,
did the math twice. I actually did the math actually, where I like this year minus the year. He was only 49.
yeah,
He was only 6 years older than we are.
I know.
It's
Right.
fucking insane.
It's pretty fucking insane. I've got two nominees. I don't
I've got
especially love.
I've got four, and I love one of them. Actually, I love two of them,
I like
but I
one of
love one.
mine. I like one of mine. The other one's fine.
I love
So
it.
I actually the other one I don't even. The one I don't like is Christian Bale. These are people who are late 40s.
No,
The one I do like is Tom Hardy.
no, mine are better.
Good. Please give
All
me your
right, I'll
I
I'll
like it.
I'll
It's not
I'll
great.
I'll work my way up. So I had Jamie Foxx as one because I
Okay.
think he could do it. Russell Crowe,
Oh, it's so much better. Yeah.
Will Ferrell,
He's too
and
funny.
then
He
and
can't.
then and then probably the one I love the most is John C. Riley.
Oh
I
man.
think he would. I think he would. I think any of those guys would kill it. I think John C. Riley would destroy this role.
I think that I don't disagree with you. I think he'd be amazing. I wonder if he's too silly though.
Russell Crowe would be good too, though.
I think if you're trying to play the straight man, it's Russell Crowe.
So Russell Crowe was the first name I wrote down, and then John C. Riley.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
I like both of those equal.
Your four are all exponentially better than mine. And I think we say Russell Crowe.
Russell Crowe would be awesome because I think of him in the other guys with Ryan Gosling, like
Yeah,
that guy just
for
doesn't
sure.
give a shit, gives
Even
zero
when,
fucks.
even when he plays Zeus in like the newest
Right,
Thor movie, like that's
right, right.
he's got that like this
Yep,
unnatural, doesn't make any sense why he's so confident. Okay, Willie Mays
he
Hayes.
is.
So Willie Mays Hayes, Wesley Snipes was 27.
And I looked at this. I don't have a name.
I have one.
I couldn't find anybody.
I think you'll like it. So you may not know who this person is unless you've seen this show, but his name is Caleb McLaughlin, and he's the kid in Stranger Things, the black kid in
Oh,
Stranger
you
Things.
could totally. Oh, yep, I like it. Totally, could
Wouldn't
totally
he be
do it.
great? Yeah, like
Yes, yes,
he
he would.
seems like bright eyed, like super excited
He
about
can
things.
play like that naive kind of. Yep,
Yeah,
and he's young.
and young, right? The 20s, man. The actors in the 20s are just
It's it's
not for
hard, man.
to get them.
It's hard.
All right, Roger Dorn is
Ooh,
so
I got some good ones for this one too.
Burnson was 35.
Yeah,
I'll go first. No, you go first this time. No, what?
shy.
I'll go first because mine are not very good. I'll go first.
Okay, you go first.
Mine are okay, but I've got Rory Culkin.
Okay,
I think that he could play kind of a weasel. I was thinking about a Weasley guy. And then I like my second one. Okay, Adam Devine.
okay.
You don't know Adam Devine, the guy.
I
He's the
know
guy
Adam.
that's like Pitch Perfect and a few other things.
I know Adam Devine. Yep.
All right. So you blow us away by the better ideas.
So I've got three names.
Yeah.
I've got Shia LaBeouf,
Yeah.
Zach Efron, and Dave Franco.
I'm with you on Dave Franco.
Yeah.
Dave, I think Dave Franco and Adam Devine, though, I think those two on screen. I don't know. That's tough. I think Dave Franco is good though.
Yeah. It was tough. That was a tough one.
So Lynn Wells, so
Lynn. Yep.
35 years old is which is kind of surprising. I guess it makes sense to be like the same age as um Tom Berenson. I couldn't believe that Rene Russo.
Behringer
Well, that's what I meant. Yeah, Tom Berenger. Couldn't believe that Tom Berenger
was 40.
was 40, and I couldn't believe Rene Russo was already,
Only 35.
yeah, 35. No,
Or
I thought
already 35?
already 35. She looked way younger than 35.
Yeah.
So I have two, and this really does depend on I think this kind of depends on who we pick for Jake. So maybe we can switch this around. But my two nominees were I had Alexandra Daddario. You know who that is?
I was thinking about her, but I did not put her.
And then I also had
I
Brie.
because I love her. I almost think she might be too pretty.
Yeah, you kind of need like a girl next door type person. I also had Brie Larson, who also might be too hot, but
Yeah, she was on. She was. I saw her and I was like, I didn't write her name down though.
I think she can play like more normal than Alexander
She
Darwin.
could.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
All right, what do you got?
So I had Amanda Seyfried,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Blake Lively, and Dakota Fanning.
I like Amanda Seyfried. I think that's a good. I
I,
think that's
that was the first name that I put down.
let's let's remember those names, even all five of them.
Let's do Jake. Let's do Jake right now.
Let's do Jake real quick. So you go first with Jake Taylor. By the way, Tom
40
Berenson was
years old.
40
He
years
was
old.
40. First name I wrote down, David Harbour.
Is he older than that though?
He might be a little bit old. He's in his 40s.
I think he's in his 50s. But okay, yeah, yeah. That's
I don't
that's
know. I looked it up. I'll look it up again. Hold
no,
on.
I
You
trust
can
you.
keep
I think David
you can keep
Harbour.
talking.
While I'll name my first one. I had Nicholas Hoult.
He's 49.
Okay,
So
okay,
technically he's in his 40s.
yeah. So I had
He could
Nicholas Hoult as my
he
first
could shave
nominee.
his beard.
You know
Nicholas
that is
Hoult. Who is that? I have no
he
idea.
plays the new Beast in the X-Men movies.
Got it.
He's in
Got it.
yeah.
My only other name is Danny McBride.
Jake.
Yes.
Yeah, that's actually not bad. Um, See, if we some of these people we're casting, this becomes like a if you got him and you got who'd you say for Lou? You got
Russell Crowe.
no, who was your other nominee for Lou? Will Ferrell,
John C. Riley.
Will Ferrell and John C. Riley. I think now we're getting a little with Danny McBride, this becomes like a fucking wacky movie. I had
I
Miles
love
Teller
it.
as my other Jake Taylor.
I probably like Nicholas Holt more.
Yeah. Okay. I like Amanda Seyfried and Nicholas Holt. I think that's believable.
All right. Okay.
You don't seem convinced.
No, I'm fine with that.
Okay.
Amanda Seyfried was the first name that I wrote down.
Yeah, that's good. The last person we have to recast is Ricky Vaughn. So Charlie Sheen was 23. I have two nominees. I have one that's a little older, he's in his 30s, and one that's young, but I don't know that people know him that well, even though he's like in a whole bunch of stuff. I had the young guy is Jacob Elordi, who like people know him from Euphoria.
I never seen that show.
Yeah, I mean, I've only seen a couple episodes, but he's pretty good. And then the older guy, a little bit older, but I still think can play like I had Glenn Powell.
That's the only name I had written down was Glenn Powell.
That's the winner, Glenn Powell.
That was the only one. So I also recasted Pedro, and I also only had one name written down, and it was Michael B. Jordan because I needed a big dude to do
Yeah. Um, I'm trying to think anybody else who would be good in that role as far as like a hold on a second.
The only other people, like especially if we wanted to like do it that way, like it was well, if you wanted to stick with an African American, like John David Washington is in that age range, and then I can't remember the actor's name, but he was the guy who was in Get Out. He came up. He was showing up on lists that I was researching as well. I can't remember his name, but as far as like prominent actors in the right age range, those guys were showing up
Well, a guy that's a little bit older, he's in his 30s.
for.
How
Well,
about
Pedro Dennis Haysbert was 35 in this. He
okay, all
was
right, good.
35
All
when
right.
this came out. Yeah.
So this guy's in his 30s. How about Yahya Abdul Mateen?
Who's that guy?
You know him from you ever see the new Watchmen series?
I saw a few episodes. I never finished it.
Okay. He's Manta in like Aquaman.
Okay,
I
I know
think
who you're talking about.
he'd be really good at it. And then who'd you say the guy from Get Out?
Yeah, I can't remember his name.
Daniel Kaluuya.
Yeah,
Kaluuya.
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
I think
I think he'd be good.
he'd be really good. And then there's one other name I'm like, fuck. Yeah, it's okay. Um, yeah, let's do Daniel Kaluuya. I think he'd be really good.
I think he'd be good. And then Harry Doyle, I couldn't find anybody, but like he was 55. He's 90 years old. He's still alive. Bob Euchre is. It's like he could probably still do it.
I
I
think
was
if
I was I think it'd be cool to do it with like an actual baseball, like do it with like Chip Carey.
that I was gonna say Chip Carey, 100%. It's got to
Like
be,
do it with an like
or even like Joe Buck, even though I don't like Joe Buck, like
right,
even like Joe Buck.
right. It's got to be a legit baseball announcer. Like
I actually think, sadly, I think Joe Buck could do this very well.
he absolutely could do it very well.
Yeah, because he's kind of a fucking smartass, and like, yeah, he could actually pull it off, I think.
Yeah.
So to stream or not to stream, do you think this is better as a TV show, or if it was remade, could it be a TV show? I kind of think it could be a really good TV show. I think that it would be. I think of it more in terms of like every season of the team could be a season of the show, kind of like Cobra Kai almost, where
Okay.
it's you've got this whole build up and you're playing the season, and the end of the season playoffs, and then perhaps you do it again, and that's Major League Two or Major League Three or whatever. Or actually, it's more accurately like similar to like Ted Lasso,
Okay.
right? I think it's great. I think it's better as a movie, but I think that if you were to do a TV show, that's what it would, for me, that's
I think it's totally better than a movie because the movie again. Well, I mean there are sequels, but like it lends itself to a sequel,
yeah.
like the way that they did the movie.
Well, yeah, I mean, you don't get a lot of movies that end in winning, but then you like the next time you watch, you're like, oh, they didn't actually. I mean, what did they really win?
Oh,
The play-in game,
they won the playing game and then they lost.
right? Yeah. So, right. Tomorrow's another day. What happens next? Well, we kind of know. I know you always have a good story, so I'm just going to say we know from Major League Two and we know from Major League Three back to the minors a little bit. Major League Two, I think, is actually really good. I like Major League Two a
It's
lot.
it's not bad. It's not bad.
It's,
I would have liked to see again, like similar to like I would have loved to see like in Major League Two again, like we know what happened, but like I would have liked to see a montage, like very similar to how they started Moneyball with like them losing that series, like some kind of scene with that of them like obviously they won, but then showing that they lost,
yeah,
and then they get into the sequel. I wish they would have done that, but I do still have thoughts because I always have thoughts.
I know you do. Share them.
Um, I think what should have happened is that the owner stuck to her guns because they said like, hey, well, if they don't do it, she'll get rid of you for personnel who can. Well, there's only one thing we can do: win the whole fucking thing. Well, they didn't. So what should have happened is she fucking fires everybody, gets rid of the whole team, and then brings a whole new team in to see if they can fail, and then that's the sequel.
Hmm.
All
So,
new cast, all new everything.
so if you think of like Rocky One is like this success story, but then he ultimately loses.
But he does lose. Yeah,
Do they win it in season two?
I have no idea. I don't know.
Right.
I think that's the allure of
Yeah.
the sequel. It was like, well, they didn't do it, so she held true to her word and fired everybody, rehired everybody, and now we'll see if they can stick it to her a second time with a whole new cast of characters.
Okay, I like that, and I think that would actually lend itself well to a TV show as well,
It would.
because you need more time almost like for the characters to develop, and then you have like pop in cameos from previous players. I don't know. That could be
Yep,
fun.
you could.
All right, next category, we got some nerd facts. You want to start us off?
I can start us off. Let me get there real quick. According to David S. Ward, Wesley Snipes was not a very skilled baseball player in real life. Never having played it much before. Ward said Snipes was so awful at throwing a baseball that they did not have any scenes of him throwing a ball, and they didn't. It was hitting and running, and that was it,
They
and
did.
catching and
Yeah, he
catching.
could run, he could catch. Yeah, he's obviously an athlete, but like not that way.
Totally.
Real life relief pitcher Mitch Williams, who was with the Chicago Cubs at the time of the film's release, was inspired to model himself after the Ricky Vaughn character. He began to wear the number 99 that had Wild Thing played when entering games. shortly earning the nickname Wild Thing. In addition, the modern day tradition of relief pitchers, mainly closers, having their own intro songs was largely inspired by this film.
That's pretty crazy.
Hmm. It is kind of cool. I'm glad they do that. At least some of them do.
Some of them do, yeah. I mean, Mariano Rivera was always Enter Sandman.
Yeah,
That was his intro song.
fucking just kill them.
No shit. Harry Doyle's line just a bit outside, which became one of the film's more memorable and imitated catchphrases, wasn't in the script. Go figure. Bob Euchre improvised the line and several others under initial encouragement from David S. Ward. Well, he did a great job.
I mean, if you got a talent like that, like fucking lean
I
into it.
mean, that's like his job is to improvise. He's watching it like he's watching an unscripted game constantly, so he's gotta roll with it. I love it.
So Charlie Sheen was actually a high school pitcher and was offered a baseball scholarship to the University of Kansas. Boo.
Whatever.
In the movie, he threw a 101 mile per hour fastball, but in reality, could only throw in the high 80s. But like, it was easy to simulate because he's actually an athlete and he could throw the ball for real. So
Well, the high 80s is still pretty good.
pretty fucking
Like
good. Yeah,
it's still
definitely,
pretty damn
definitely
good.
college level. Just
Charlie Sheen admitted to Sports Illustrated that he took steroids to prepare for his role. He believed the steroids he took caused him to increase his fastball to 85. And that doesn't surprise
good for his dedication. All right, this is kind of a long one, but the Rachel Phelps character and her plan to move the Indians was inspired by real life Minnesota Twins owner Calvin Griffin. In the 70s, during the planning stages of constructing the Metrodome Stadium, Griffin had negotiated for an escape clause in the team's lease, which said that if the Twins' home attendance was under 1.4 million per season for 3 years, the team could be released from its contract and leave. Griffith let quality players depart via free agency and used cheap, inexperienced rookies and has-beens. The Twins, of course, lost 102 games in their first year in the Metrodome in 1982, then 92 games the year afterwards with attendance under 900,000 for each 3 seasons. But a group of investors from Tampa bought 42% of the team, and the Twins were on the verge of moving to Florida. To many fans, it appeared that Griffith had weaseled the escape clause into the contract and set up the roster so that it could be put in practice. Luckily, the situation was avoided when Griffith sold the Twins to banker Carl Pohlad. The Tampa group sold its minority stock as well, and the Twins are still in Minneapolis.
me. Look at that. In the scene where Jake invades Lynn's party, one of the guests asks how much Jake makes in the majors. He replies, I make the league minimum. At the time, in 1989, the MLB league minimum was $68,000 a year. Average household income in 1990 was roughly 30. So he was making a very respectable double the average household income.
Despite being league minimum, he's still doing okay for himself.
I mean, league minimum is still pretty damn good today.
Yeah, it's a shit ton of money.
It's hundreds of thousands of dollars a year.
I looked this up recently. I think the league minimum is like 250 or something like that.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm sorry, their MLB minimum salary is $740,000 in 2024. That can't be right.
yeah, I think the league minimum this season it's $720,000.
That's fucking nuts.
Fucking nuts. All right, well, let's move on.
We should have been better at baseball.
Inner nerd
Uh,
thoughts. We learn anything? First thing, we should have been better at baseball.
we should have been better. We should have put. I should have stuck with baseball. I shouldn't have quit.
Yeah. So my first thought was, how do you think players are cut nowadays? Do you think they still use the red tag method?
I don't think so. I think it's very similar to. It's like if you've seen that movie Invincible with Mark Wahlberg, where they're just sitting around and like they just knock on the door. Hey, coach wants to see you. I think it's like that. Like
Or
it's
even from Miracle, same thing.
or like Moneyball. It's like no, like these are professionals. Like treat them like professionals. Hey, you've been cut, or hey, I've traded you. Organization's going a different way. Done. Like
Done.
treat them like adults. Don't treat them like children.
Yeah. Is this the best motivator for a good season, you think, to remove articles of clothing from a cutout of your owner?
I mean, if she's attractive, which she is,
Yeah.
uh, yeah. I mean, let's be honest, like that wasn't the sole motivator. The motivator was like, hey, we have to win, or else like all you guys are getting fired. So like, we're playing on house money. We're playing for nothing. She's gonna get rid of us anyways. So fuck it, let's do it. But that was just kind of the icing on the cake.
Well,
But that
and
was good icing on the cake.
that was good. That was a fun little graphic to have in your. I mean, but I guess she doesn't come down there at all except for that one time, so it's fun. You can keep that in your locker room. I'm
Oh, you're lucky.
curious.
That's another one. You're lucky I can even afford to pay your salaries. And then she looks down.
Yeah.
That's another quote. Sorry.
Do you think though? I'm curious about this though, as an owner, and again, I'm not a billionaire, so who knows? But at a certain point, when they start making money and like having great attendance and whatever, like, don't you think you like shift your? Don't you think she shifts the way she operates, or is this like a I don't know, like the long game? Like, fuck it, we're gonna get out of here in 3 years. I
Well,
don't.
and you also, I mean, and maybe that's just a mentality of how she got the money because her husband died and she inherited it all. So she openly admits she hated. It's no surprise. I've never liked Cleveland, so she wants to get out. So she's kind of she's got tunnel vision of like, I want to get out of here, and this is what we're gonna do. So she probably doesn't see the fact that like, hey, I could probably take advantage of this and maybe start to make money. No, fuck that. I want to get out of here.
Yeah. Okay. Does this have when you watch this movie? Do you think of getting Stan Kroenke vibes?
No, my general thoughts on that are probably not very popular with the people of St. Louis, but every time I hear something like that, I think of Frozen and Let It Go. Let it go. Everybody just needs to stop fucking talking about it. Like the guy doesn't give a shit. So why are we gonna care? Like everybody should just like great. Like does it suck that it happened? Yes. Was I ever emotionally invested in the team? No. And that's probably why I can have the attitude that I can have. Like it sucks that we lost them, but I'm not holding on to it. I let it go pretty fucking fast. And I've moved on. We have some great teams here. Let's support those great teams. Call it a day.
That's well said. I'm wearing a Battlehawks shirt right now as we speak.
Exactly. We got the Battlehawks. We got we got a soccer team now. We've always had a hockey team, always had a baseball team. Like let's support them. Like don't worry about that shit. The past is the past. Let it go.
That's well said. My next question is a little bit less serious. How bad do you think Ricky Vaughn would actually kick Dorn's ass?
Oh, he would totally whoop his ass. Oh my god, he'd whoop his ass with one hand tied behind his back.
I mean, he was in prison for fuck's sake. Yeah,
And
he's
he was in a biker gang. Like not to say that all biker gangs fight, but like
yeah.
they probably do.
My last question for you is: who do you think they lose to in the next round? This is a an American League baseball question. Who do they lose to which I'm assuming is the championship series to go to
Yes,
the World
because they
Series?
didn't have. I don't think they had a divisional back then. I think it was just straight ALCS. Like you win a pennant, and then you're in the World Series, and that's it. I'm gonna say the Red Sox.
Hmm. I don't know. I don't think the Red Sox are any good. You know who I think they're losing to? I think they're losing to the Twins. I think that's who they're losing, which is
Or
funny,
maybe
which
the
is
Mets.
no,
The
the
Mets
Mets,
were good in the '80s.
but they're in the National League,
Oh shit, you're right. The Twins is a good one. Who else is in the American League?
not the Royals.
The Blue Jays. The Blue Jays
Oh,
won it. Joe
Toronto's
Carter.
good. They're
Yeah,
good in the
Joe
middle of
Carter
the
was like
90s.
90. Yeah, Joe Carter was like 92, I think. So like or 93. So like yeah, it could have been the Blue Jays. I'm still going with the Red Sox because
Yeah.
why not?
Well, yeah. Oh, I think, but the Buckner thing isn't that in like 86 or 87? I think you might be
86.
86.
86. Yeah,
So,
I
yep,
think.
you're right there. Minnesota. I mean, Kirby Puckett took them to the World Series in like 91,
It,
I think, or 90,
yeah,
something
because
around there.
we lost to him.
Yeah,
When was that?
as 87.
That was 87.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right. So I think those are both good answers. All right. Last question. you have any final thoughts about Major League?
I mean, I love this movie. Again, it's something that I've seen so many times. Did I watch it before this episode? No. Could I have? Sure. But did I need to? No, I didn't. I've seen it so many times. Like
Uh,
it's still fresh, and we can just start to banter and then it all just comes back.
I think I am especially impressed by your quoting skills because even though I've seen it a million times, I still have to look at my notes and you did not. So I appreciate that. And this is a movie that I do quote a lot in regular, just day-to-day life. And
Right.
even the quotes don't make any sense, doesn't matter. We all know where they're from.
Yeah,
Oh, Major League. Okay. Well, that was a great
love
episode.
it.
A little bit of nerd outreach. Obviously, thank yous. Well, John, thank you for joining us tonight after dealing with kids and family
Nah,
stuff.
it was all right. It was good. I do have a thank you though. I have a big thank you. It's actually a long thank you.
Oh, okay, good. Go.
Um, so as everybody may or may not know, today is June 6th. Uh, not sure if everybody understands the significance of June 6th, but it is the 80th anniversary of D-Day today. So a little history lesson. D-Day was actually known as Operation Overlord. D-Day was the invasion of Normandy. So invasion from England to France to help liberate Europe and eventually end World War II in England, or in England, in Europe. So why Normandy? Well, everybody knew that it was going to be a channel crossing, and the most obvious place when you look at a map is Calais because that's the shortest distance between England and France. But the Allies thought that was too obvious, so they chose Normandy, but because it increased, even though it increased the distance and the travel and the supply lines, but they wanted the element of surprise and they thought that was worth the risk. So, and I got this information from the National D-Day Memorial website. The final plan called for 150,000 men to land on 5 beaches. The Americans landed on Utah and Omaha, the British and Canadians on Gold, Juno, and Sword. They would be bolstered by glider landings in support of some 5,000 ships and 11,000 airplanes. In the early morning hours of June 6th, American and British paratroopers dropped into Normandy from more than 1,200 aircraft. Once daylight appeared, gliders brought in additional paratroopers. Those from the 82nd and the 101st, which you probably know if you've seen Band of Brothers, you know that that's the 101st Airborne that they jumped into Normandy. And then at 5:30, the largest naval bombardment ever began, but it only actually lasted for about 40 minutes. Then the wave of 150,000 American, British, Canadian, and French ground troops stormed 50 miles of coastline in Normandy, France. Nightfall on D-Day found that the Allied forces passed the German defenses on all 5 beachheads. So Hitler's vaunted Atlantic Wall lasted less than 24 hours. Casualties numbered, and this is the quote of this is as official as they can get, is there were 4,426 casualties, 2,509 Americans, and then 1,914 allies from 7 different nations. Just a little brief history on D-Day on the 8th anniversary, and there was a lot of ceremonies like in France. They do it well. They do it every year, but this is kind of a big one because it's the 80th, and they still have Normandy veterans there. There are a few that are still alive. They're all I think they're all in wheelchairs, but
Mm.
they're still making the trip and they're still alive. So, thank you to all the servicemen who are serving, who have served, and then to those who gave the ultimate sacrifice.
Yeah, that's so well said, man. I hate to follow that up with hey, listen to us on all the different platforms for podcasting, but here we are.
But here
Uh
we are.
obviously all the Instagrams, all the socials, send us in any show suggestions, nerd is a new cool podcast at gmail.com. Watch us on YouTube. We have actually a very recent nerd bites that we haven't done in a long time that I think you'll really enjoy. It's about the four roses, the
The
10
recipes.
recipes.
Yeah.
And then finally, our next episode preview, we're going to be jumping into a movie that is near and dear to our hearts. Came out the year we graduated high school. We're doing it with one of our good high school buddies. who will come back for an episode of ours. Boondock Saints.
A Marine veteran himself, Boondock Saints, 25 years old. I cannot believe that movie is 25 years old.
Well, I watched that also last, and I gotta tell you, it holds up.
It holds up. It totally holds up.
So look forward to that. Well, until then, thanks everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye bye. He hasn't done anything since 2019, sadly. Davis S. Ward,
I, I
not
well, yeah, not Kelsey Grammer. Kelsey Grammer's still active.
right. Oh shoot, I screwed that up. Fuck, my
He hadn't
bad.
directed since 1996, right?
Yeah, I skipped to the next category and actually accidentally read that. So
That's all
let,
right.
let me just say
We
that.
just
I'll just say that sentence again, and then I'll edit this. How about that? That's how smart I am.